Hi everyone, Sherry here again today for Tutti Designs. Today I'm going to be using the Heart Dreamcatcher die, the Love Word Set die, and I'll be using the scalloped stitched nesting rectangles, the largest one being about 4 5/8 by 3 3/8 and the smallest 2 by 3/4. I'm going to take a top folding A2 size card and I'm going to use the largest rectangle and I'm going to cut the center out of my card base. I'm also going to take the love die and cut that out of a scrap piece of white paper. And as you can see here, I've cut out the center and I am going to save that piece for another card. I'm going to take my bone folder and try to flatten this out just a little bit. When it went through the die cut machine, of course, I had to unfold it, and that affected my top fold there. And I have this piece of pattern paper that I'm going to put behind the front piece of the card. And here you can see that I have my Dreamcatcher cut out, and I did color this with my color pencils off camera as this took quite a bit of time, but I am gonna just kind of show you how I scribbled on with the pencils. Here with the love die, I'm gonna punch it out, then I'm just gonna lay a piece of paper under it, and I'm just gonna start scribbling with my darkest red. I'm going to get halfway through this, and then I'm going to go back and get the negative piece of that die cut. I do find it a little bit easier to color these if they are still in rather a solid form. I did the same thing for the Dreamcatcher. So I'm going to scribble on my darkest color, and then I'm going to come above that and scribble on a mid-tone red. I'm just going to try to create an ombre effect here. Not too terribly worried if the coloring is smooth or not. I am going to go in after I finish, and I'm going to use some Gamsol on both of these. I have not used Gamsol in the past. I've always used just the pencils for blending, or I have used the blender pencil, the Prismacolor blender pencil. However, with these intricate dies, I had to come up with another solution, so I had to bite the bullet and buy myself some Gamsol and a few paper stumps so that I could get the color blended out. So I started in my lightest color and then brought that down to the darkest color. Blended that all together. And now I'm going to do the same for the Dreamcatcher. All I've done here was apply color with the pencils, and I am using a different end of the stump for different colors. You could just as easily take the little paddle of sandpaper and sand off the ends of your stump. This will clean off any color that's on there, and it will sharpen the stump back up for you. But since I have several of these, I'm just going to use a couple and use one end per color. I'm moving on to the red, and I'm just trying to make sure that I don't take the color back over that beige that I have in the webbing of the Dreamcatcher there. Just going around and blending all the pencil. And now I'm going to grab another stump and work on the turquoise color. I start blending with my lightest color all the way around, and then I blend into the darkest color. I'm going to do the same for the feathers. I'll do one, and I'm having to hold on to the feather so that I don't tear the feathers off of the Dreamcatcher itself. And I'll do the other two off camera, trying to make this video as short as I possibly can because I'm slow. It takes me forever to do anything. And then I'm just going to pop out those pieces that were still in the center of the Dreamcatcher there. Close up the Gamsol. You want to make sure you're in a well-ventilated area when you use that. Even though it is odorless, it's still a chemical and it gets in the air. I'm going to take some Nuvo adhesive and just run a bead of glue around that frame that I've cut out and make sure I have my pattern paper the right orientation. It really doesn't matter, but I chose a particular direction that I wanted it. And yes, I'm bringing back the paper doily. I love the paper doilies, but you don't see anybody using them much anymore. So I decided to add that as a design element to my card. And now I'm thinking I want to bring in a little bit of that cream color. First, I'm going to trim one side of my doily just with a pair of scissors. And kind of lift up the edge of that frame just a little bit. And I'll use my piercing tool to help me get up under there. I end up taking it back out so I can ink up the edges of it, but I like to lay out my card several times during the design process just to make sure that I'm still going in the same direction. So here's where I'm thinking I want to bring in a little bit of that beige color. So I just chose some antique linen distressing. I'm just going to go around the outer edge of my the front of my card base. And I apologize. I get off camera a couple of times during this video. I guess I was in the zone and not paying attention. I decided too I wanted to bring a little bit of that antique linen onto the doily. So I'm just pouncing that color along around the edge. And I have adhered that into place with a little tape runner. And I decided I would use a two-way glue pen. This seemed to be the easiest way to get some adhesive on the back of the Dreamcatcher. It is quite fragile, and I like the Zig two-way glue to use for die cuts such as this. You don't have to press real hard. It glides on, and you get good coverage. And you don't have to worry about glue seeping out from underneath it once you go to apply it. So I'm going to get this positioned, and I am overlapping the frame just a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the love die cut. again, using the Zig 2A glue pen. And again, I'm off camera, but all I did was pick up the die cut with my tweezers and adhered that to the front, again overlapping on the opposite side. And now I'm going to add some Nuvo crystal drops as a final embellishment. And I'm just randomly placing these. I'm going to place about 3 of them around the sentiment. And then I will choose a few places around the rest of the card. And this is pretty much going to be it for my card today for Tutti Designs. Be sure to pop on over to tuttidesigns.com and check out all of their wonderful dies. I wish you all a very happy new year and a prosperous 2018. Thanks for joining, and I will surely see you again soon. Bye now.